I think this country's in very, very dire straits. I think we can pull out, but I don't think we have time for nonsense. We're self-promoters and guys promoting their TV shows and on and on and on. I don't blame him for not coming on this program, the Donald. I don't blame him, because he'd have to answer some questions. We know he gave to Rahm Emanuel for that. He's got an excuse for that. What about the $2,000 he gave to Anthony Weiner? Or the money he gave to Schumer? Or the money he gave to Hillary Clinton? These are all 09 and 10 I'm talking about. How about Charlie Crist, the $2,400 he gave a little over a year ago? And another $2,400. Primary and the general. And I can go on, and I will when we return. It just shows you the void in Republican leadership, frankly, that there's even anybody who's thinking Donald Trump, frankly. Superb businessman, very entertaining individual, as best I can see. But no, he's not a conservative. I'm going to go through some of these contributions of Donald Trump, starting with his most recent. And you tell me if you can discern any philosophy here, other than protecting he believes, his business interests, for the most part. As recently as October 21, he gave $500 in the general election to somebody named Chris Gibson, running as a Republican in New York District 20. He dropped $50,000 on Rove's group, American Crossroads, I think that's Rove's group, in October. Kirsten Elizabeth Gillibrand, the junior Democrat, senator from New York, he obviously likes her. He gave $10,000 in the primary in September, another $2,400 in the primary in September. He also gave her $2,400 in the general. Then, last August, he dropped $30,400 on the RNC. May of last year, he gave $1,000 to Coburn. February of last year, he gave $2,000 in the primary to Anthony Weiner, $400 to Charles Schumer, $1,600 to Schumer in the general. Then, November 09, he gave $2,300 in the general to Hillary, another $1,700 in the general to Hillary, that would be Clinton, or as we affectionately call her, Thinus. He gave $2,400 in the general in October 09 to Charlie Crist, another $2,400 in the primary before that to Charlie Crist. Carolyn Maloney, Democrat gun controller, $1,000 in the primary. Bill Nelson, Democrat of Nebraska, $2,000 in the primary. Then May of 09, he gave another $2,000 in the primary to Chuck Schumer. March 09, he gave $2,400 in the primary to Harry Reid. Then we have a slew of donations, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $2,300, $2,300 to John McCain. Then he drops $28,450 on McCain in May of 08. Then he backs Liberal Democrat Robert Andrews, running in the Democrat primary for the Senate in New Jersey. Gives him $6,900 in the primary. Arlen Specter, 2008. He gets $1,300 in the primary. Then, January 2008, he gives $25,000 to the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, and the list goes on and on. Does this sound like a conservative to you, putting his money where his mouth is? Like I say, compare that to the Koch brothers, or to others. You know, we need somebody in the presidency who's going to be tough with China, but who's also going to be tough with liberal Democrats and not have been supporting them for public office in the past. Schumer? There's always an excuse or an explanation. Business interests, I live there, Ernie Grabotsky was his brother, and he was my friend's friend, and related to the third cousin twice removed. You have to donate to them? Now, if you're going to run for office, and if you're exploring the possibility of running for office, this is fair game. This is not a personal attack. Looking at his donations, they're public record. Very little money to solid conservatives there. $1,000 to Coburn and here and there. $50,000 to Rove's group in October. If you're thinking about running for president, I guess you figure that means something. And a few others. But as I say, I don't see any conservative committees on there. I don't see any conservative politicians other than one or two. And yet there he is. He's invited to CPAC. CPAC, Conservative Political Action Committee, the place where Ronald Reagan went to take on the Republican establishment. He's a big speaker there. Everybody's cheering him. Yes, Donald! Boy, do we have a ways to go. We do. I respect the man for what he really is, not for what he's pretending to be here. There's more information, too, on his positions as a pro-choice, then pro-life guy, and so forth, but I don't need to get into all that right now. I don't think he's a serious candidate. As a Republican, I will not be looking for his support, but think that if I run, I will do very well in the state of Tennessee, Trump said. He's a Republican? When did that happen? But I believe he's also been a Democrat. Maybe he's been an independent. Whatever he needs to be. Said the great people of Tennessee like me do not like being taken advantage of by the rest of the world, whether it's China, South Korea, India, Pakistan, who take our aid but won't deliver Osama bin Laden, the OPEC nations who are destroying our country with their pricing of oil, or many others, Trump said. That's all well and good, but why won't he take on the Democrats? Is that a little more painful? I would have liked to ask him a number of questions about Chuck Schumer and Schumer's positions, Anthony Weiner and Weiner's positions. Well, you know what I mean. And some of the others he's donated to. Issues like gun control, other parts of the Bill of Rights. I'd like to have explored with him his knowledge of the Constitution, the Declaration, American history. I know he's an extremely smart man, but these are things I'd like to know about. And, of course, his contributions. But that's not going to happen. And as I said when I started this, I can hardly blame him. It's not like he really wants to have a tough interview. Donald, you're fired. First of all, you're not even hired. But there are things that are very attractive about the man, frankly, and that's why people like him. He's confident, he's brash, he's successful, but he's not a conservative. He's more of, I'll invent a word, a situationalist. Let me use that word, coin a phrase. Whatever works for Donald. I'm sure he's pissed off at China because China did something to him, but I'm glad he is. Oh, and Donald, you're going to take on South Korea and India and Pakistan and all these other countries? South Korea and India are allies, and we need them desperately. South Korea is an ally. It's time to study up on the Korean War a little bit. We sent our fleet there. You said they should pay us $100 million. We sent our fleet there because it's in our best interest, too, because we lost over 40,000 men in that war. How is it that the Trump campaign has my personal website, keeps sending me their propaganda, but the great Donald won't come on the program and ask you a few questions? I would be professional. I would be polite. Stop sending me the stupid emails. I remember when Ross Perot decided to run, a lot of conservatives felt he was the answer when he never was. And I took a lot of heat when I said he wasn't. I wasn't on the radio. I'm talking about in conservative circles. I heard a little bit of Trump on Hannity's show, and he's going on and on about China. That gets people supportive of his views. Going on and on about the birth certificate, which is fine, but ladies and gentlemen, that's not going to save the country. And then when Sean asked him about Paul Ryan's plan, it sounded like he didn't know much about it. And then he said we need, bipartisan proposals. Both sides have to come together. And I thought to myself, I don't think you understand what's going on this issue. You can keep talking about the birth certificate, have a blast. And I know some of you, that's your issue. Go ahead, chase it. Every now and then my dog chases his tail, too. Why, you think some court's going to tell Obama he has to leave the White House? You're dreaming. But that said, that aside, fundamentally, if you don't support what Ryan is trying to do, then you're not in a position to help save the country. Can I be blunt with you? May I be blunt with you? Those Donald Trump folks out there, don't be offended. I think he does a great job on TV and whatever else he does. Wonderful. But he's not the real deal. When he's asked about budget things and tax things, he really mumbles and bumbles around. He can tell you all about China and all about Obama's birth certificate. He's a two-trick pony. I admire the guy. I really do. Don't know him. I've never talked to him. And obviously he doesn't want to come on here. That's fine. They want to go for cushy interviews. They can go wherever they want. But this guy's not the real deal. If he's even thinking of running as an independent, we know who gets elected if that happens. Obama. You know what, folks? I care too much about my family and my children in this country and you to be playing games. This isn't a circus. These are extremely serious times. I go on the Comedy Channel this week, and I forget if it was Saturday or Sunday, and they have these roasts that are absolutely vile, the things that are said. And they're roasting him. They use the F word, all kinds of... Well, Mark, how do you know? I saw it for about 3 minutes, my jaw dropped, and I changed it. Honestly. If I didn't, I would tell you. Think, what is he doing there? Just think these things through. The guy contributed heavily to Democrats last year. Not just any Democrat. Rahm Emanuel, the despicable, creepy ballerina, a.k.a. Al Capone. The mayor. He contributed to Chuck Schumer, kind of conservative Tea Party activist. pro-life, whatever he is these days, contributes to Chuck Schumer. Well, he's a businessman. Well, a lot of businessmen out there who have principles contributed to Anthony Weiner last year. So I'm concerned, and I'm going to tell you something else. This is going to upset some of you, too. This birther issue gets us nowhere. Listen to me. And don't start posting all over my social sites. I'll wipe you out. That's what I'll tell the administrator to do. I'm not in the mood. We have these monumental battles to help save this nation, and I don't want to hear every damn night in every interview liberals trying to get this guy to talk endlessly about birth certificates. Let's pretend for 2 seconds Obama wasn't born here. Let me ask you a question. By the time that's litigated and gets all the way to the Supreme Court, what the hell do you think's going to happen? You think there are going to be 5 justices to remove him? Now, come on. Don't be silly. It's not my issue. It's a distraction, in my humble opinion, and so is he, in my humble opinion. It's not my friend. I don't need him as a guest. I'm not into it. Just is what it is. He's sounding more and more like Ross Perot to me. And I think he demeans our movement. I mean, how feckless are we? Wow, he sounds great. Let's go for him. What? Come on, guys and gals. I know I'm upsetting the hell out of my daughter. She loves him. She loves the Celebrity Apprentice. I've seen it now and then. It's a great show. What does that have to do with anything?